One cup, everyone knows the rules. Good morning, everybody. Hope you all had a great Monday and Tuesday and a good weekend. Sun's shining, it's a beautiful day. Great day to talk a little bit of some sports again. I know with this thing going on, none of us have had any sports connections. But ESPN did a amazing thing with the Michael Jordan documentary yesterday or 2 days ago that came out. And it blew up, and I think it made a lot of people excited and a lot more attention back to the sports world. And then also, in general, the Masters came out with a new schedule, updating it. I know a lot of talks with MLB trying to figure out ways to get a new schedule updated. So we got a good couple bullet points of topics to talk about this morning. I guess to kick it off, I didn't watch it. I guess I'm guilty of not being the sports enthusiast that I claim I would once like to be. But I guess you two, since you guys did both watch the Michael Jordan documentary and, Chase grew up in the same era because of his age. So I guess to kick it off, what were some cool things that went on during the show, or I guess during the episode that really was kind of, I guess, eye-catching and eye-popping? There's some things that you didn't know about him, or what?
Well, I mean, I think everybody, especially, my age, not, babies in their 20s, but that they know how good Jordan was. To this debate about, who was the greatest. I mean, if you saw him, there's still, in my eyes, no comparison about who was the best. But I think some of the people that hadn't seen him play, to see live footage and not just, the highlight reel that we've all seen of, the dunk from the free throw line, him hitting the game winner in Game 6, everybody's seen those highlights to see how good he was. I mean, he was essentially the best college basketball player from his sophomore year on. He's arguably the best player in the NBA from his second year in the league on. So he was really, really good and crazy athletic. And I think seeing some of the rare footage, all of his college games, a lot of that footage. But, I mean, what you got to see was the behind the scenes, because there was no social media then. So I thought it was awesome, the day-to-day and seeing all the behind-the-scenes stuff, because it's not like now where, you're out there and you got Kevin Durant with a live IG video, shooting around, or Steph Curry, they're all on there. So you didn't really get to see any of that, but I think that it showed, a lot of aspects that people hadn't seen before. So it was really cool.
Austin, what was your take, Austin?
Yeah, so I mean, I recall watching MJ play growing up. I mean, I was only 9 or 10 at the time when he was in his prime, but I remember idolizing him. I had a full-size Michael Jordan cardboard figure in the house. I still have a bunch of his memorabilia. Basically, any basketball card that he had, I have it. So, I mean, I grew up idolizing the guy, and what was really interesting to me is I knew he was great, but like Chase said, seeing some of the film and footage that a lot of people hadn't seen before made him even higher up here in my eyes. And I guess I really didn't fully understand his competitive nature. Mitchell, you won't know this until you see it, but it reminded me of with the whole Zion situation this year, him being put on the minutes restriction. I didn't realize Jordan had to go through that same thing in his career, his second year in the league, when he had hurt was it something in his foot or his ankle?
Yeah, he broke his foot. Yeah, he broke his foot, and I knew that it happened. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I was born in '83, so I was 2 years old whenever that happened. But you never knew. I didn't know minutes restriction or any of the details behind that. So I think it's wild. It seemed like the numbers that he was putting up and playing 14 minutes a game, and then getting the playoffs, and what he did to the Celtics when he was, it was his second year, but he was also out damn near the whole season, his second season. So I mean, it's pretty incredible, man, really. And I think don't get into that drive thing, but I want to say, I don't know if you guys, what Bob Knight said about him. Said that after he coached him, because he coached him during the Olympics, and he said that he was, the fastest, most athletic, most talented, hardest working player he's ever seen. So he's the best player he's ever seen. And they asked about, why do you think Portland didn't draft him first? And he said, well, I know that they said they needed a center. And I said, well, hell, draft Michael Jordan, play him at center because he's that good. And so, I mean, that was whenever fresh coming out of college that Bob Knight was already like, he's the best basketball player ever right now.
Now, like for people like maybe in the millennial age, those people like me, for example, do you think, like, for instance, me, if you ask the question, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, I think that's a big topic conversation a lot of people have. Who was better? Put them one-on-one, who's going to win, or who who was the guy that, or between the two, who was the best one. I mean, I'm a big LeBron James fan in all assets of life. I mean, with his family, with his game, community, things like that I love about the guy that I don't think many people take into consideration. But
Sure.
after watching this video or watching this documentary, you think a lot of people, maybe the younger generation, might change their mind. They have that different thought. Is it that powerful?
I mean, as far as LeBron, I love LeBron too, and I think it's a lot of hate. But I mean, this guy does an incredible amount for the community. I mean, the school. I mean, we could have a whole episode about all the stuff he does. But I think that as far as on the court, Jordan was definitely better, and like Kobe had more of the mindset of Jordan did. That was just like win, and that's it, just win. And I think the only other person, the person that I think is closest to Jordan as far as athlete goes in mindset is Tiger Woods. I remember Tiger Woods catching like a bunch of shit whenever he was young because he finished second at the U.S. Open or something, and they asked him if he was happy with his performance, and he said no, he came here to win. He didn't come here to get second place. And he was young. I mean, he was still, people knew he was probably the best, but you have that attitude that, I mean, some people are just, I mean, we played sports, so we're competitive, but some people are just, I mean, they'll die. They'd rather die than lose.
Plus MJ was playing, I mean, good golfer, but also he was playing played in the professional baseball league. I mean,
I mean, pretty good athlete.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, hey, to kind of get back to your question about the comparison between MJ and LeBron. So Bradley, who's 8 years old, was watching the reruns of the Michael Jordan episodes yesterday afternoon. And he goes, well, I thought LeBron was the best. So I was trying to explain to him, and this is my argument. I truly feel that when Michael was playing, there was a bigger quantity of talented players as opposed, say this loosely, not saying that he's in his prime, but I think he's out of his prime. The competition level that MJ had to go against night in and night out was far superior than what LeBron has to go through and had to go through, in my opinion. So that's what
I beg to differ.
The two of them. How, mate?
First off, I think it's trying to compare apples to oranges too at some point because of the size and plus the bigger, faster, stronger, the technology and everything that the game has gotten into. That's like saying.
What are you saying now? It's more.
Oh yeah, that's like saying put Babe Ruth in a batter's box against Clayton Kershaw. Babe Ruth wouldn't stand a chance.
Well, he would struggle, but I think the brand of basketball is also a whole lot different. Yes, the game has become more technical. The size and speed of guys nowadays is definitely more so than it was back in MJ's prime. But back in the late 80s and mid 80s through the early 90s, that was dirty basketball. Like those guys, I mean, they might not have been the bigger, stronger, faster, but they were mean sons of bitches. And that's my argument. Like, I truly think Michael had to endure more and a tougher brand of basketball. And for him to play as long as he did and to have the success he did against that type of animosity, night in, night out, I don't think you can compare that to anything LeBron has to go through. And LeBron fucking sits out nowadays every 5 days, 6 days.
Not anymore because of all the backlash he got from it. I still think you put LeBron James and Michael Jordan one-on-one in their prime. Put Michael Jordan and LeBron James one-on-one in their prime. Play the game of 21. LeBron James is winning.
No. Jordan was really fast, really quick. His first step was unreal. So, I mean, yeah, LeBron is bigger and stronger, but Jordan's a better shooter. Jordan's a really good defender. But here's the deal. It was a different league back then. You were allowed to use your hands back then, guys. Like you could hand check people, you could push them back in front of you. And the Pistons, and you're going to see this in the next one because I think they go into the Pistons. But that was when their whole goal was just to beat the hell out of them. So that's when he put on weight and did all that. Now you can't beat the hell out of LeBron because he's so big and so strong. So I think he would have been just fine in that era too. But I think what Kevin Durant had a great comment because they said, "How do you think MJ would fare in today's game?" And he said he would fare by being the number one player in the league today, just like he was. I mean, was crazy. I mean, if you look at how good – Mitch, you got to watch, man. Like, how
I'm
good he
going
was
to.
at finishing around the rim was insane. Like, his finishing around the rim, like, with not just dunking, but laying it up. He was throwing high layups way before anybody else was doing that, doing the – like we all used to do. Jordan was doing that long, long time ago. So, I mean, it's just LeBron has more God-given talent, but Jordan was, man.
A lot better
LeBron
story.
was
For
3
sure, a
inches
lot
taller.
better story. No doubt about a better story.
Yeah.
Because of the whole getting cut from his high school team to, having his own shoe brand. I mean, massive. Massive. At that point in time is when shoe brand and endorsements took off, was because of Michael Jordan. And like I said, he's got a better story. I wish they were both in their prime to where they could play against each other just to see. I think it'd be amazing. That'd probably be one of the biggest, most hands down, most best-selling live pay-per-view item to ever go through any type of pay-per-view HBO show or event. No doubt about it. But obviously, that's not likely to ever happen because it's not realistic.
Well, the thing is that already happened, and it was Magic Johnson. Because, I mean, Magic Johnson's game was very similar to LeBron's, and they're very similar size, too. So they had the show out there in L.A. I don't know what year it was, maybe 93, 92, 93, when the Bulls first beat them. But Magic was a very similar game to LeBron. He just wasn't as athletic, but he had the same build, ball handling, 6'8", pass first guy.
And what about Larry Bird?
Larry Bird was nuts, though, man. And people forget how good – people don't realize how good Bird was.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Now.
No. Yeah, I can see that.
Just saying.
No, I just thought it was crazy. I mean, you're talking about the shoe deals or anything blowing up about that time. And the most eye-opening thing to me about both episodes was the fact that I knew Scottie Pippen was good, but I didn't realize, based on statistics, how good he was. And the fact that he was making was the 122nd highest salary in the whole whole NBA, and he was the second best player. Like that's shocking to me, and that stuff doesn't happen today.
No, he should have never signed that deal. I mean, he signed a 7-year deal in sports now. It's crazy. No one would do a 7-year deal unless it was the highest paid contract ever. That's the only reason somebody signed 7 years. So I mean, there's blame to go both ways in that. But Pippen was really good, man. Like, he was definitely a top 5 player. I mean, a lot of people think second best. I mean, for sure he was top 5. There's no arguing he was not top 5.
Right. Well, let's hop along to the next topic. I know we talked about Michael Jordan being, an exceptional golfer, and there's plenty of really good athletes. I mean, Steph Curry's real good too.